this is the video that I want to see or so. This popped up like 7 days ago. It's called Mug Thief. And it says gamers just want to hate video games. I can already tell what the subject is. It's like they blame gamers or so that they just want to hate everything. They want to see everything fail, and they want to, you know, they're happy when video games fail or studios close down and all this other shenanigans and everything, you know. It's probably that's what the topic is about. I'm super curious to see like what the contingency of argument against it is, what's all about. So I guess we're the bad guys, duh.
There has been a trend happening within the gaming space recently. Mainly, bad games being announced, released, not doing very well, and then people talking about how they flopped. That trend has now been taken by a bunch of people on the internet to say that gamers just want games to fail. That our pursuit is to find the next console.
It's pretty stupid to say that. No, gamers want good games. But the problem is if you keep shoving shit out, you know, and saying that like, you know, here's the game itself, you know, it's just kind of like, well, it's half-baked. All of the mechanics are undercooked. It doesn't feel very satisfying to play in it. So it's just kind of like, what do you think? It's not gamers' fault. It's Co's fault. Shame, shame, shame. Yo, mama's a shame, shame, shame. I need to talk to you. The black delegation needs to talk about literally of someone from your delegation of being a horrible mother.
Equivalent. So we can make fun of it. That apparently that is a lot of people's sole reason for existing and the sole reason for certain people to even be online.
Hey,
in case you haven't put two and two together, I find it very funny that people are saying gamers want games to fail instead of asking the question, why are so many games failing?
Exactly.
And they're just correlating those two things as if they were cause and effect. And to me, this conversation feels in a way that's trying to steer us from what actually matters, which is getting better video games. I'm not saying that this is a forced discussion. I'm not saying that it's fabricated, but I'm saying that it's...
The only reason why these... I'm super curious, right? If there's like some kind of kind of a scam happening for... Because like, the only reason why I think that it's a scam, right? Is that some of these budgets for video games are getting blown out of proportion. The best example is the Spider-Man 1 game and then the Spider-Man 2 game. How the budget or so like doubled or tripled from the first game to the second game, even though they're using the same assets from the first game into the second game. Somebody make that sense to me, to be honest. Somebody make sense that to me. But then at the same time, the studio is founded in the studio is in California, at least specifically, I think, if I remember correctly, for that one. So I'm just kind of like thinking that something is going on in California that are raising the prices. Well, they are raising the prices anyways, but there's something happening. Like I feel like the rabbit hole just goes even deeper when you're just kind of like looking at it, you know, from like the video game perspective of like why did it double in price in this studio to that studio, and then on top of that you figure out like what are their costs or so. Where's the studio at? It's in California, and then you look into California and how everything else is more expensive. And you're just kind of like, it's kind of very interesting. It just kind of like trickles down to where we are at specifically.
Blown so much out of proportion. We have so many people complaining about the videos with 200,000 views talking about how High Guard concorded, as if those videos or those opinions are plagues on the industry, and completely ignoring when Resident Evil 9 sells 5 million copies. 5 million copies of...
Yeah, because... when you pay a California dev, it's literally, if you pay someone that's outside of California, you can literally afford 3 or 4 devs compared to the one dev or so that's living in California.
People's hard-earned money compared to 3 minutes of a person's time clicking on a video. And very frankly, I'm tired. And I think there's a good chance you are as well. I'm tired of people saying that pointing out things that we don't like is just trying to be a negative voice that hurts the industry. When the reality is that what we're trying to do is make it very clear what we want more of. Or to put it differently, I think that gamers don't want games to fail, at least not in their majority.
No.
But what we want is for certain business models and certain ways of developing video games to fail and disappear. And
it's the live service stuff. The live service slop, basically. they like people don't have no problem for live service. The problem is people are getting fed shitty live service games and they're tired of the shitty live service games. They want actual good live service games. I'm like, just take a look at like the best example for like live service games is like take a look at the what's it what's it called that game again where Hell Squad, Hell whatever, Helldivers. There you go, Helldivers. Helldivers is one of them specifically, and then you also got, you know, one of the best ones too. Even though it is a gacha game, but it's still a live service game. You got Withering Waves. You know, you got some of these gacha games are still lasting longer. At least the AAA gacha games. I call them the AAA gacha games, which is the 3D gacha games in general. They're still like they're still performing like ridiculous pretty well compared to any of the live service games that have been coming out from the Western side. You also even have Marvel Rivals too. It came out literally when, you know, not a lot of people wanted hero shooters, but it's still doing fantastically pretty well on its own, you know. There's even footage of her being on extreme sports running and was on top of the runner in her college, and she threw that away after Blueface. Ah, I see.
Look at what a coincidence that just as we come from talking about a game that failed spectacularly in Highguard, we have an example of 3 games that are finding huge success, and that each of them represents things that we really, really want in games. So just as I do my damnedest to criticize the games that aren't good, to specify what we don't want, this is a golden opportunity to highlight what I believe are the reasons that these 3 games are doing incredibly well, being Resident Evil 9, Slay the Spire 2, and Deadlock. Each of them.
Ah, yes. I've been hearing that Deadlock has been doing very, very, very fantastically well, to be honest.
Representing something that gamers desperately want, that they then provided and they find success for. And because sometimes people just can't learn their lesson when you tell them this is the mistake, maybe it's worth just looking at the ones doing things right and saying, hey, do more of this. And some of the reasons these games are finding success go way beyond just they're good, because it's not just that, it's that they understand to a much deeper level what people want from a video game. And that is what I'm going to talk about in this video, about those 3 games and the very clear examples they set of what we want more of. By the way, hi, I'm Mug, and if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not new here, welcome back. And I gotta say, you're looking like a crisp Lincoln. Congratulations on that. If you enjoy this video at any point, hit the like button. And I especially care about this one because I wanted to send a message that we're not here to hate video games.
Yep.
We're all here to celebrate the good ones and to make sure that others imitate the parts of them that work. So every like is appreciated. And if by the end of the video you like what I do here, my personal style of news, reviews, and essays on the industry, consider subscribing, but only do so if you feel like what I do is truly worth your time. So let's get into it.
The death of premium games.
We're going to start off with the very big success story from about 2 weeks ago, because that's how quickly everything moves, being Resident Evil 9. A capital AAA game that allegedly gamers hate so much, but that not only has sold over 5 million copies, but has had an overwhelmingly positive reception to pretty much anybody that you might ask, including myself. I put up a review on the channel because I absolutely loved it. And to talk about Resident Evil 9's success, we need to broach one of the most horrible terms that we have within the video game industry today. Just the same as I am incredibly opposed to being called a consumer instead of a customer, it's just a matter of respect in a way. I have grown so tired of the expression premium game, a term that has been so warped by this point. Back in the day, it used to be something to differentiate the free version of a mobile game and the paid for version of it. And somehow it's now also being applied to video games you pay for, because you can pay for video games that aren't very complete and that add additional microtransactions or expect you to wait and pay more down the line in order to get the full experience, and therefore they're not premium. I feel like we should call them for what they are. Content complete or content incomplete.
Yeah.
You could also say content pending, but then You know, the letters to shorten content pending are kind of, yeah. It does get worse though, because if you use Google's fancy AI search, not only will it tell you that premium games are more or less what I was trying to define.
Let me see. Hold on. Wait. Go back. So let's see. So the key characteristics of premium games include upfront costs. Players pay once, often through the retail or digital stores. Ad-free experiences. These games generally do not contain intrusive advertisements. Complete content. The game is fully completed and is usually available at purchase, though some may offer separate downloadable content. Quality focus because they rely on one-time sales rather than continuous microtransactions. They often focus on high quality and polished experience monetization. While premium games are primarily buy to play, some may still include optional non-intrusive DLC. Example, console and PC. The titles like Call of Duty or EA Sports FC are traditionally sold this way. Mobile games are high quality paid apps that offer a complete uninterrupted experience.
Fine, but it'll tell you that good examples of premium games are things like Call of Duty and FIFA or EA Sport. Sure, man, whatever. So I'm personally not going to refer to games as premium anymore because that's dumb. Instead, I'm going to say that one of the main reasons Resident Evil 9 has been so successful is because it is content complete. And don't worry, I hear some people out there saying, but they cut content from Leon's campaign, or they cut this, or the game doesn't have this bonus mode. And hey, I'm right there with you, but that's not the point of a game being content complete. It's that they're not BSing you. They're not selling you a game with the promise that they're going to add stuff later. They're not selling you a game that, in order for the experience to be as intended, requires additional purchases and microtransactions. They're telling you what's in the game and what you get for that price, and you do with that information what you will.
This is the one thing too as well, that why I shit on Marathon is because it's incomplete. It's literally like a hollow, incomplete game. And then there were some people in the comment sections that were hating on me. It's like, don't make fun of Marathon and all this other stuff and whatnot. I'm like, hun, you guys have been getting slop for the past couple of years that you're used to it now. People who paid one time only and the full content is there on launch day is literally straight up like, is what people paid for. This is what people always like, the old people like argue against the younger people, is because the reason why is because this incomplete half-baked shit, it shouldn't be the thing that you should be paying for. If you're gonna give me a half-baked game, I should be paying half the price for it. I shouldn't be paying like, you know, 60, 70, 80, $90 or so, you know, if the game is like fucking half-baked or so. I should be paying half of it. You know, you give me a half-baked game, I will pay you half price for it, and I'll pay the other half when you fully complete it. So
whether that game is worth the money for you, you get to make a very informed decision instead of going down a decision tree of different versions of the game and which one is more complete than the others. I know that it sounds crazy in this, the Big 26, but you can purchase a video game, load it up, play it in its entirety to completion, and simply enjoy that experience and feel like it was full and complete, instead of feeling like you have to wait for the live service update that's coming later, or for the upcoming patch notes, or for them to finish the game even. And there is something beautiful in the confidence of releasing a game like that, even if it does have a high price tag like Resident Evil 9. And obviously it's something that resonates with gamers. And sure, Resident Evil 9 had a ton of marketing behind it. It's also technically the 30th game in a very long-running saga. But we've seen plenty of giant games of very popular franchises not do well. And I wholeheartedly believe that part of the reason that Resident Evil 9 has done well is that feeling of nostalgia of just seeing a game on the metaphorical shelf and going, oh, I want to play that, sitting down, playing that experience, getting what you want from it, and then putting it down. It's not asking you for more. It's not asking you to sign in every day. It's not asking you.
Like also Monster Hunter too, how Monster Hunter was pretty much a Monster Hunter Wilds or so was a complete, like, you know, And like some of the content was also cut and they gave it into the updates, even though those updates were supposed to be on their own. But you know, when they data mine it specifically, some of the monsters that were like in the first 2 updates or so were originally supposed to be in the actual base game itself.
To wait for the final chapter of the campaign. And another thing that Resident Evil 9 does that is way more exemplified by the second example we're going to see today is that it allows you to put in as much as you want to and still get a lot out. Beyond that first campaign playthrough of Resident Evil 9, there are challenges. There's fun stuff to unlock. You can continue to play the game. You can go through it on Insanity mode, which changes a lot of stuff about the game and makes it feel very fresh again. And having all of those things there doesn't feel mandatory or like a way of making the game have more value. It's just a smart use of what is there to give different options to different people. The reality is that there's a lot of people out there that have more money than time and a lot of people who have more time than money. And for that first group, it delivers a very polished campaign that is respectful of your time.
Exactly.
And that you can feel satisfied when you're done. And for the people who have more time than money and really want to squeeze value out of games, it comes with a host of different challenges and different things to do that extend its playtime in a way that feels rewarding. But if we're really going to talk about catering to the different types of gamers, we have to talk about the absolute juggernaut of Slay the Spire 2.
Man, dude, this game is so good, man. This game is really good.
Now, to me, one of the biggest problems that we have in the gaming industry is that developers, publishers, and of course, games are struggling to keep up with the aging demographic of gamers. That whole thing about having more money than time, well, it's slowly moving more towards money than time because we're aging and just becoming older means you have less free time. But the overall gaming landscape seems—
Yeah, and the worst part about it is that the younger audiences doesn't really have much money to begin with to be buying these video games because you can only buy like 1 video game a month. I remember when you used to be able to buy like 2, maybe 3 games a month, but now you can't really do that no more. Now you can only buy like 1. So it's just kind of like, that's why you got to be more careful what you buy at the end of the day. I'm like, am I going to sink this many hours in the game itself? Am I going to get it if I'm going to get my money's worth from this game itself, you know? Or maybe just wait, you know, many months down the line when it goes on sale, if it's on Steam, of course, you know? Catch it on a good sale, and that's kind of like the only time you can pick up the game. But then by that, but the problem is like by then, once you actually buy the game on sale, you'll probably forget about it. You'll probably be playing a new video game, like the new hottest video game that's going to be coming out that specific time frame. So
still to understand that they're still stuck in the idea that the best way to make money is to create video games that people want to play every day for 2 to 3 hours. Video games that you are meant to dedicate your entire life to. And because you are dedicating so many hours to it, you feel justified in spending your hard-earned money on useless, meaningless cosmetics for those games. In many cases, they're still trying to attract whales, still trying to attract the big spenders that are going to drop.
They're busy playing anime gacha waifus, okay? That's all I gotta say. They're probably not playing these kinds of games. They're probably playing the gacha waifus.
Up thousands of dollars for stuff like limited time cosmetics, creating consistent time pressures in order for us to want to be there every day and not miss out. In that regard, Slay the Spire 2 is one of the most brilliant games ever designed, not just from its gameplay, which is very good, it's very good.
It's very good.
Also from a market appeal. Sure, the success of Slay the Spire 2 can be attributed to many things. It can be attributed to the fact that the first game was incredible, considered by many people the best roguelite to have ever been made, and that word of mouth has spread over the course of the last 8 to 9 years, leading to the launch of the sequel doing gangbusters as everybody jumps in. I don't think it's fair to attribute it to the low price tag because $25 isn't really that low. And while yes, there has been word of mouth, I think that word of mouth has also happened with the second game very quickly. It's a game that really proves that great game design never goes out of style. Just another one of those incredibly polished experiences that feels excellent at every minute throughout your experience with it. Similar.
Damn, that bitch right there, dude. I swear to God, man. That bitch right there, that motherfucker, I almost had him, but the status effects overwhelmed my deck or so. And unfortunately, I just pulled too many status effects cards. I could have killed him if I didn't pull so many, because he applied like two different kinds of status effects on me, and that is pretty much about it, so.
Similar to some other indie success stories that we've seen,
I need to play
including
this game
stuff
too
like
as well.
Silksong and the recent Mugenics. But what I find absolutely fascinating about Slay the Spire 2 that I think puts it in its own special category is how it allows you to get the most out of the game no matter who you are. If you're a person that has more disposable income than free time, it's not that big of an asking price for a game that's going to feel exceptionally good for the time you put into it. And you can clear the game with the 5 characters that are currently in it to progress through the epoch unlocks and feel pretty good about the time you spent and the experience you had. To the point that the fact that the game is technically content incomplete, it is in early access, doesn't really affect the experience. However, if you're the type of person that likes to sink hundreds of hours into a game, this version of Slay the Spire 2 allows you to do that. Just go on more and more ascension runs and keep climbing, and it still has ways of rewarding you for doing that. A game that you can put 20 hours into its current version.
Damn, I was really that close to beating it? Fuck, man. God damn it. I was actually really that close. Damn, I knew it'd be the third head, it'd be the last one.
And feel great about, and maybe never even play it again, even when it does technically come out. Or a game that you can spend hundreds of hours in and find tons of joy. We've seen other games, by the way, come out in early access, have great numbers, and then do even better numbers when they come into 1.0, and I'll be very curious to see if Slay the Spire 2 follows that trend, or if it's just that people are very, very happy with how the current game is. But the other part about it that I find fascinating is that Slay the Spire 2 also competes in an arena that normally we don't see, which is a lot of the bread and butter of the live service microtransaction heavy games. The play for 1 or 2 hours with your friends after work category. Be that your Apex runs, your Marvel Rivals matches, or recently your friend slops. Slay the Spire 2 coming out with multiplayer, allowing it to be the new game that you and your friends hang out and play while chatting about your day, means that it really does offer pretty much everything. It is pretty cool that you get to play with your friends, and it doesn't compromise on quality for any of those. As long as you like roguelites and I guess deck builders, you have a pretty concise and enjoyable main mode and main goal to achieve. You have infinite replayability afterwards, and you have a multiplayer game that can satisfy that niche for your group of friends, all to a level of quality that is exceptional. But then people will ask, how is it that Slay the Spire has done these great numbers? And they will fail to recognize that it's not one thing, it's the combination of all of them. And the fact that it caters to so many different people all at once is a huge part of that success. And it's a success that proves that we can have our cake and eat it too. Great video games can be designed in a way that so many people can enjoy them. But it seems that instead of realizing that taking something that otherwise could be considered niche and doing it to such an exceptional level in its design can turn it into the next big mainstream hit, developers and studios are confused as to why their projects don't reach the same numbers. And they will be confused the entire—
It's because this is half-baked, you know? That's the reason why. It's not even worth your money, you know?
Entire time that they are developing a highly compromised game that's trying to be mass appeal without ever having the quality for it, the design for it, or even in some cases, games that are specifically catering to niches, or games that have onboarding processes that are basically 20 hours long, like the case with Marathon, which I am currently playing for review on the channel, and I can tell you that game doesn't show you what's fun about it until you've put 20 hours into it.
See, that's the problem. This is the argument that I always hate every single time. Why do you need to put 20 hours or so when the game for it to start actually being good? I'm like, that shouldn't be a thing. It should be good at the very beginning of the game. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's not fun. It's not fun at all.
And hey, that's fine if that's their decision, as long as they never complain that, oh, too many people didn't give it the 20-hour chance.
Exactly.
A lot of games just fail to provide the person buying it, the customer, with something worthwhile. And because every customer is an individual with their own wants and needs, games that manage to do something like Slay the Spire 2, that caters to so many people without any compromises, is honestly incredible. And just a little bit of that DNA could go a very long way in making other games more successful. And that is on top of it being an exceptional game. And that's because it feels like it truly respects your time and your money for actually getting into it. But now we have to talk about the potential elephant in the room. A lot of what these games want to be are live service super earners. Until I started dissecting my...
They all want to be the Fortnite because if I remember correctly, we saw a piece of the interview. Well, not really saw the... Yeah, we did actually. We did see a piece of the interview of the of Jeff Kaplan. And literally they said specifically, we want to make that money. It's literally the people in the higher ups that want that piece of the pie of the live service slop, basically. Well, even then, you know, Fortnite is not really a live service slop. It was a live service success at the end of the day. It's still doing strong even till now, you know, but they all want to be, yeah, they all want to be the next Fortnite. That's what they all want to be. And it's just kind of like, you can't be the next Fortnite. You just can't. That's just not how it works. That's not how inventions work at the end of the day. One person makes something good. You can't be the same person doing the same thing as well.
Feelings on High Guard and its failure, I hadn't really stopped too much to think about it. But something that has completely changed my perception of games is starting to look for the details of when a game is first designed to make money and then the game is built around it, versus when a game is built because it's fun.
Yeah, that's the problem too. These games are also built on how much money can we earn or so from this video game instead of it actually being fun. It's the same thing as like, how competitive can we make this game instead of actually like, or how can we make this game esports instead of actually focusing on the game for it to be fun. It's the same mentality specifically on all that. And it's just kind of like falls apart specifically because you're just catering to a certain, you know, a certain demographic. But then also for these ones, they're trying, the demographics that they're trying to basically get is the whales. They're trying to get the whales. I'm sorry to burst your bubble here. The whales are pretty much busy playing 2D anime waifus, okay? All right? You're not going to see them playing these kinds of games, all right? They're busy grabbing the next hot 5-star that's going to be coming out, you know?
And then they have to try and find a way to make money. High Guard to me felt like a game that wanted to be a product first. It needed to make back its development money first. And then the actual identity and the fun of the game was lost at some point.
Yeah, but then at the same time, these budget prices for these video games are gonna be blown out of proportion. It's just kind of a little bit weird that the pricing or so is like going, like the development cost is just going out of the window at this point. It's like you're burning the money in general. It's like I might as well just burn it in front of like billions of people.
If it was even there to begin with. There is in gaming no better example of this than Valve's Deadlock.
Chapter 3, for the love of the game. This game is really good. I played it, like the early version.
A game that has been pretty publicly available to play while not technically being out, technically not even announced, for the last 2 years. A game that is currently the most wishlisted game on Steam because it's not technically publicly available. You need to be invited to play it by anybody who has already gotten in. Deadlock is in active development, and it has been. It's been receiving major patches, not just of the type of new content like you might imagine from a game that's actually out, but very significant patches that you could consider game-changing, that are shaping the identity of the game, because it's not out. Its current state doesn't just rival most games that are technically out, but dwarfs them when it comes to multiplayer PvP games. And you know that it's being made first as a game that's meant to be fun, and as a vehicle for you to empty your wallet second, because there's no way.
Because if you provide them an actual good product, that means they're gonna stick around longer, and they're gonna want to spend money in the game and support you, and you make the skins for them. You provide them something good, they return something back. That's just kind of like how it works, you know? And they keep returning back, and they keep coming back afterwards. Can you stop playing League and get on that Deadlock? Yeah, stop playing League of Legends. Go play Deadlock instead.
For you to give it money. That's right. In case you weren't aware of this, it's not that Deadlock doesn't have cosmetics. It's that it doesn't have any way of you giving it money. There are no microtransaction season passes. There's pretty much no reason to play the game beyond you like playing the game. What sort of cosmetics, how that will work,
It'll definitely come out later.
come at some point, maybe. But right now, there's no way of Deadlock taking your money. You can't give it money. And yet still, it's being constantly iterated on, developed, and becoming better and better pretty much week after week, to the point that it is consistently now one of the top 10 most played games on Steam, despite it being a game that you can't just go to the page and hit download on.
That's
now,
crazy.
This is where a lot of people will start to say it's not fair. Deadlock can afford to be in testing phases for years. It can afford to keep servers running for people to play it without making a cent, because it comes from Valve, a company that essentially has infinite money and no shareholders to answer to. They're playing with a very clear advantage. And while that is true, you have to remember that video games are competing for our time. They're all on the same stage, competing for the same thing. It's how the market works. So when a game wants to compete in that arena and then comes up short, you can't blame that on the fact that other people have better resources and infrastructure and made better decisions along the companies.
They were more concise. They know how to steer the ship compared to some of these other companies. They don't know how to steer the ship properly. That's what I'm saying. You know, that's why I'm saying like these money are blown out of proportion. Because remember, right? I think if I remember correctly, one of the devs said from High Guard said, "Oh, we ran out of money on the budget." I'm like, what'd you do with all the money? Like, what happened? You know? What do you mean you ran out of money? It's like, oh, if you know, if we ran out of money, we just gotta ship the game the way how it is. I'm like, what do you mean? What were you guys doing? You know? So you kind of have a question and thought. It's just like, what is going on here? What is happening here? You know?
History to allow for that. And if you do, it's like showing up to a yacht race in a sailboat, and then when you come in last, saying that you should have won because you didn't have a yacht. And Gabe Newell knows a thing or two about yachts, by the way. The point is that we as customers don't care what the resources of the game are. We care about the final experience.
I wish I did.
They're all competing on that same
paying for my
world
VTuber
stage.
model right now.
And we want to give our time to the best one, to the one that speaks to us, to the one that we enjoy the most, not to the one with the saddest sob story. I've said it before, but if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Don't compete in the most saturated, most difficult genre that you can compete in right now if you don't have the resources to stand toe-to-toe with the giants. And make no mistake that Deadlock is indeed a giant. For those of you who don't know, this is a combination of 100% MOBA with 100% hero shooter and 200% greatness. Valve,
Yeah, but this gives me more MOBA vibes than hero shooter, because the only reason why, right, is because I played Smite, you know? It gives me like Smite vibes. I like the third-person camera angle. That's why I don't really like the League of Legends. I'm not a huge fan of the top-down view. I like this a lot more. I feel like you just have more control and you're more into the, like, in the actual game itself. This just feels more better. I like the third-person MOBA a lot more. Even though there's not really that many of them. Those are the only games that I like personally interest me a lot more.
has managed to cook something truly special with Deadlock, and I think that is in large part because they've spent infinite amounts of time and money developing it without the intention of making money. They're only doing this because they want to, and they'll figure out the money later. And it's really funny how that works, that in the end they've crafted a game that is so good that I've put 1,000 hours into it. Which means that
crazy.
If they do come out with cosmetics, I'll be happy to buy them. And I will buy them without
The cosmetics,
hesitation
the
because I won't
collabs, you
feel
know?
manipulated. I won't
The
wonder
collabs
if
that are
I'm
gonna happen in
buying
this
them
game is gonna be- it's gonna go
because of
crazy.
FOMO or because I didn't complete my weekly mini battle pass.
Also, actually, I was gonna say the ball and gun gamers are probably going to enjoy this game, but then like, I forgot they have to read, and I don't think ball and gun gamers know how to read. So I'm just kind of like, I'm like, maybe they might actually enjoy playing it, but then they have to learn how to read though. So, toss up of a coin, you know.
And I need to compensate for it by buying $10 to boost it. I'll buy them because I already gave them 1,000 hours and I like playing their game. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? Because the truth is that for every $1 billion that you're missing compared to the competition, for every not genius designer that you have on the team, you need to compensate that with ideas worth billions. And if you don't have the billions or the ideas, why are you so stupid to come crying to me that I was mean enough to point that out? I am tired of people saying that gamers want games to fail and then completely ignoring the games that do incredibly well.
Yep.
Ignoring them to the point that they are unwilling to learn lessons from them and instead just keep blaming their failures on customers, on critics, on people just trying to do them a favor. And I would guess a lot of you watching this video right now, love video games.
Exactly.
And you love playing a great video game way more than you do watching the drama around the failed one. I don't like this narrative that gamers are just mean-spirited people who want their thing, their hobby, the thing that identifies them to do poorly. We just want the ones that are bad to be punished and the reasons for that punishment to be clear. Sometimes
I remember a time or so, it was like, you know, when you fail at something, you know, you learn from that failure and you try again and make it better. I just don't understand where that specific like thing or so is like, oh, you're toxic, you're a bigot, you're whatever, you know, how dare you, you know, it's supposed to succeed, you know. I feel like it's during that time or so, like during, I think like there was a thing or so like a while back or so where everyone has to be winners. I'm like, no, there are winners and then there are losers, okay? You lose because you're a loser. You lost, you failed, you learn from that and you make it better the next time. But no, everyone's just like, oh, you know, I lost or so I should have won, you know, I should have been the winner. I should have been the more successful game. Our game was better. We had this, we had that. It's like, doesn't matter, bro. At the end of the day, the game is just not that good.
That's on a very direct criticism level, and sometimes it's the market showing them
Take your case
that
out,
they
be safe.
didn't have it, just as the market shows the winners that they do. So, oh, so sad, this game died. Anyways, I've got Slay the Spire 2 to go play. I've got a Deadlock patch to keep exploring. And speaking of which, I've got a lot of games to talk about. So if you want to hear me talk about Marathon, Monster Hunter Stories 3, Pokemon Pocopium, and
I would love to play Monster Hunters as well, the new Monster Hunters game. It seems pretty interesting. I've been seeing gameplay of it, so.
Ton more games because they just never stop, and it's such a great time to be a gamer, and it has been that way for so long. Either subscribe for when those come out or just check out the channel. Maybe everything is already up by the time you're watching this. The point with that is we're enjoying it. Yep. We're eating good, and I think it's important that we recognize the successes and why they are doing so well, just as much as we dissect the failures. Not to make us look good.
Yeah, if you say specifically that gaming is dead and everything like that, it's because the games that you play, like your taste in video games is just terrible. There's a lot of great games that have been coming out, so.
Not to make us look like we don't hate games, because we do that with our wallets every day with the games we choose to support. But instead, to remind the people that tell us that all we do is hate games, that they should spend less time complaining about what their customers say and more time learning from the ones that we praise. I've been Mug. Thank you so much for watching.
Imagine trying to learn what other successful people are doing.
To the members of The Wall, the people who choose to support me either directly here on YouTube or through Patreon and allow me to make the videos I want to make. Fickle algorithm be damned. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. enjoyed the video, hit the like button, share it
Good
around.
video, to be honest.
Whatever you feel like doing, it's all appreciated. The most important thing, though, is make sure that you go out there and enjoy some of those great video games we have.
Yeah.
Don't let the online discussions riddled with stupidity take up more of your time than necessary. Laugh them off, and then remember to have a ton of fun playing video games. Because
I've been having a fun time
personally,
playing video games.
that's what I do. Sorry, I have to go complete a run as the silent. But I'll see you again very soon.
That was a good video. That was actually, wow, that was actually a very, very, very good video. Good video. Mug Thief. Great channel. I hate games so much I only play good ones. Wanting games to fail, laughing at the evil corporation. Exactly, that's the whole entire thing, you know? I'm like, they're making like bad decisions at the end of the day. Because it is a mixture. It's a mixture of multiple things, right? Ego is one of them, which, you know, High Guard is the best example for it. Ego is, what is it? Bad, I guess like bad direction or so from the higher ups, because they don't really know what to do with the game itself. You know, they try to add mechanics, delete mechanics, do stuff here and do that there. Summary of the VOD, it's all Ko's fault. It's your mom's fault because she ain't coming in for the barbecue every night that I give her. Anyways, it is an amalgamation of amount of certain things in general when it comes to video games, but definitely the devs themselves don't know what gamers want. They straight up do not know. They're not in touch with the gaming culture. It could be, you know, it could be because there's a lot of women in the video game scene, okay? Like in the game development scene. I'm just saying, it's a mistake to have a bunch of women being in the video game scene. It's over, chat. It's cooked. Video game is cooked, chat. God, you hate to see that. Anyways, so jokes aside, we'll see what happens. It seems like gaming is definitely treading towards a more healthier path, because we're shitting on these specific types of games, you know. And my curiosity is, right, at the end of the day, when it comes to Marathon, right, I'm like, Marathon is not looking very good right now at the moment. So 2,000 players? Oh my god, that's crazy. It's down to 17k right now for offline, 54k in the last 24-hour peak. Ooh, I don't know, man. This game is definitely a financial failure, I'll be honest with you. It's definitely a financial failure. And then right now, people are playing over 200k players, and then 24-hour peak is still 526k. Yeah. And then we look at Deadlock or so, 35k right now, and then 92k past 24-hour peak. It went up to 117. It also went up to 171 like 1.5 years ago when people played it. So, and the game is not even out yet. That's the funny thing about it. Like, Deadlock is not even out yet. Yeah, Marathon, like I said, the only way to find out the actual numbers for Marathon is when the honeymoon phase is over. Once the honeymoon phase is over, I want to see the actual real numbers of the actual players sticking around. Let's be honest here. I don't know, man. It's still this is definitely a financial failure. So, especially by the marketing and the budgeting that this thing had, it's definitely a financial failure. So, will it die off? Will the players finally come to enlightenment or so and understand that this game is not good? Probably not, because Ball and Gun Gamers doesn't take that much to basically impress them at the end of the day. So their tolerance when it comes to, like, you know, like having shit products is so massive, to be honest. When they actually get an actual good game or so, they're surprised with Pikachu face, you know. So it'll definitely go down. We'll be seeing what happens in a month, you know, month and two from now. So we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, they should stop playing these games so they can actually get actual good FPS games, you know. They need to get good FPS games, but the problem is, you know, well, what do you expect? They're not gonna get, you know, good FPS games because they like to absorb this slop fest, you know. So, oh well, it is what it is. At the end of the day, you get what you deserve. So, anyways, that's the end of the video. And good video, and peace.